Hello viewers, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about a very interesting study that came out in the Journal of Eye Science. This study is done by the University of Houston. This is creating a lot of interest in the metabolic health circles, and it's actually an interesting study. I'll first read the title of this study. A potent physiological method to magnify and sustain Soleus oxidative metabolism, which improves glucose and lipid regulation. This is too many technical terms, too much of medical terminology, but I'll explain to you what is so interesting and exciting about this study for all of us. It's creating a lot of ripples and interest in the clinical field, how to translate this to help patients for metabolic health. So what this study is like, they basically looked at people or patients or anybody who are not able to continuously move and exercise. With all our occupations, most of us, whether we are students or whether we are elderly, whether due to physical limitations or whether because of job restrictions, we are mostly immobile and we don't have an opportunity to move. So what they studied was in people who do not have opportunity to move and who are mostly immobile and sitting for a long time. They wanted to study the effects of small movement in a very small muscle. When I said here the effect of soleus muscle, the soleus muscle is a very small muscle, and by moving that, it's almost like a micro exercise or a mini exercise. A soleus muscle is a very flat muscle which is broad, and it goes in the calf area. When we say calf muscles, the soleus is inside. It's a very thin, long muscle which is broad. It's only about 1% of your musculature. There are about 600 muscles. And that muscle, when it is used for a long time in the experiment, I'm going to explain the experiment. Just by sitting, they noticed that there was a very phenomenal, dramatic metabolic improvement that was noted. So what is this exactly? How did they design the study and what happens? So to begin with, the soleus muscle is a very unique muscle. Like I told you, it is a slow twitch muscle, which means it can sustain. It is designed to go on and on and on and on for continuous activity. It doesn't get fatigued. You must have noticed when you walk, the calf muscle, that is the other muscle that sits on top, the gastrocnemius muscle, which is the thicker one, is the one that can get fatigued and painful. But inside, the soleus muscle is designed to go on and on and on and on continuously. Even while walking or standing, it stabilizes it, and then like a tailor, when he moves his ankles up and down while stitching, that's what he does, the movement up and down, and the soleus is the muscle that actually makes it to initiate and go on with the movement. So the interesting part of this study is, usually when we use energy for glucose, the glucose, which is energy, we use the local storage form in that muscle first, but the soleus muscle has very little reserve of that glucose, that's called glycogen, and so it actually uses the energy from the blood, which is the glucose in the blood, as well as the lipids for its use when you continuously use it. So they did an experiment, and in this experiment they studied, the methods of the study was basically, what they did was the design, first of all, was they took the men, women who are active, inactive, children, adults, everybody of all age groups, and then studied them whether they're athletes or not athletes, whether they're heavy or not heavy, and studied their glucose utilization in the blood by asking them to move in a closed laboratory setting by moving their heel down like this and up like this about 15 to 20 degrees, and they had methods to calculate by putting various devices, and looking at the glucose utilization and also at the fat utilization. And to their excitement, there was a compelling results that were shown. It actually showed that about this muscle uses almost about a lot of glucose from the blood, and in the process, when all of us eat, the glucose that goes up after we eat in the blood, it has come down to almost 52 to 55%. That's called as the postprandial excursion, that the glucose that goes up, and the insulin usage came down by almost 60%. So this means that by just doing this movement of the soleus muscle up and down, the need for the insulin is decreasing phenomenally. That's a lot, and that gives tremendous metabolic benefit for clearing up the glucose, because this is about the glucose utilization in the muscle. So in spite of being such a small muscle, this muscle, just 1%, utilizes maximum glucose for us to be continuously going, because it is such a kind of muscle that is designed for us to go on and on and on and on with this slow twitch kind of activity. And this is, I can demonstrate this actually how to do this. Don't take this like an exercise. This is mostly for keeping this in mind, that we have to be more in tune and attentive about when we are sitting and when we are immobile, to kind of use this for metabolic health. Keep doing the exercises that you're already doing, but there is a lot of results that are promising, and this can be of a very kind of compelling information that we could get from this in the future, to be using this in our daily lives. So I'm going to show you this, how you do the movement. So the soleus muscle is all here, all the way up from here to here inside the calf muscle. So I am going to show you the movement slowly. So all that you have to do is just go up like that with your heels up a little bit, and then come down and then do this. Up the heel and bring it down, and then bring the toes up like that. This movement is what you need to do to bring up that activity. And if you're tired, you can just do it with one leg only, and you can do variations. And so the question is, how much, we'll get a lot of questions from this, how much to do and all that. In the experiment and in the study, they have done this for 270 minutes in some people. That's a lot, that's almost 4.5 hours. But the idea is, you can do it at least for a few minutes in an hour, or kind of titrate it and then go up as you can tolerate. The biggest thing to remember is, this is very low investment, cheap, and only thing that you have to do is be attentive and bring a little bit of tension, just about 15 to 20 degrees angle, and use that muscle, because this muscle is so beautifully designed to take up all the glucose and lipids. So I'm going to be coming up and giving more links to this in the future as we know more information. We are very excited to see how this changes when we try to incorporate this kind of an activity for most of our sedentary patients, or people who have limitations because of pain, older people with diabetes and all, to kind of incorporate into their lifestyle and see how it changes. We also put continuous glucose monitor, and that way we can see how it comes down, because apparently with this kind of an activity, even though you don't do it for 4.5 hours, that's a lot, you could at least do for 10-15 minutes while you're sitting, while you continue your other activities and all. And this has promising results that it has been shown in the data collected so far, and it says that it has significant improvements in the metabolic health. So we are very excited, and we wanted to share this information with you. This is a very new study, that has been published. Thank you very much.